Hi there, and welcome to the Digital Disciple podcast with myself, Lux Nqolobe. And this is episode 11 of season 1 of the podcast. Today we are talking about true servanthood and what it means to be a servant of God. And yeah, honestly, taking a deep dive into the origins of servanthood and what it means to serve God. I recently did a video on servanthood, so this one is just a longer form of the last video that I produced on my channel. So yeah, sorry for the delay, but this is gonna be quite interesting. So we're gonna unpack the following things. So first we're gonna describe what is servanthood, what it really means, what Jesus' role is in discipleship, and the role that he modeled as part of servanthood. And then we're going to understand um, what culture sees versus what the kingdom has sees. We're also going to be talking deep into like serving God and also helping out in the church wherever we can share. I'll also share my reflection and my journey is as a servant. And then we are also going to end it with encouragement, but this is going to be a longer form. So I just don't want to rush the process. The Digital Disciple podcast has been on air ever since 2024 podcast. It's going to be quite good. So don't feel quite alone. This is not a revival of sorts of personal feelings and personal thinking. Nope. It's a full on episode. I don't want to look at the charts. So let's get to it. Let's understand what revival is and of course understand what it means for all of us, right? So let's understand the heart of discipleship, which is true servanthood, right? So what is servanthood? How is it defined? Servanthood is a mindset of prioritizing the needs and well-being of others through humble and selfless actions, right? It involves living to benefit others, often requiring sacrifice and the willingness to perform tasks that are not glamorous. In a leadership context, it is known as servant leadership, right? This is where the leader's role is to support and empower their team rather than expecting to be served, right? The key aspects of servanthood are the following. Mindset, that's number one. It originates in the heart and is characterized by humility and selfishness. This is putting the needs of others before your own needs. Two, motivation. A servant acts out a desire to serve, whether that is to be serving God, fellow believers, or others in general without expecting reward or recognition. Three, action. This involves actively helping others, taking on the humble role or behind the scenes jobs, asking, how can I help? For examples, these are like biblical example, and our example here is Jesus, right? Jesus was presented as the ultimate example of a servant. He came to serve rather than to be served. Our other examples besides of Jesus was Joshua serving Moses and Elisha saving Elijah, right? And then in the leadership role, servant leadership is a style that where the leader serves first. This is focusing on the development and well-being of their employees, right? This can lead to greater organizational growth, and employee commitment. Lastly, this is different from slavery. Servant's loyalty is voluntary, distinguishing it from the involuntary nature of slavery. And then the benefits of servanthood are the following. It leads to personal fulfillment. That means it can lead to a sense of fulfillment and a success that is not tied to worldly statues or power. Stronger relationships. This adopts a servant's attitude and significantly strengthens relationship with spouses, family, and friends. Lastly, it helps leaders as to make them more effective by building trust, commitment, and personal growth in their team members. So it plays a huge role when it comes to servanthood. So since we understand what servanthood really means, let's take the suppose that we understood what it really meant, right? And we understand that it might be hard, you know? A lot of people want to be used by God, but stay hidden by Him, right? So it's not about being on the spotlight, but also just allowing yourself to help out wherever you can, right? So Jesus was washing feet of his disciples when he served the disciples. This was during his Last Supper, and this was just showing that he became a servant instead of just expecting him to be served. You know, this was done during the Last Supper. Now, let's speak roughly about culture versus kingdom perspective. Um, so hopefully we can break down what it is, right? So culture is like, or probably how today's society would be viewing it, like people don't want to help out, they just want to be served, right? Whereas servanthood shows us a different side of things, where we are serving in the church and just taking some time to help out. Servanthood starts at home. Um, the reason why I'm saying this because servanthood helps us to see ourselves as better people uh, and helping out wherever we can. So it's not easy to start as a servant. It seems like a huge, wholesome task at first, but there's a reason for it. Becoming a servant does mean that putting responsibilities in front of you, and these are just common tasks, right? So that's where servanthood is scared. Like it starts from home. That means you're helping out at home, and then in the kingdom, servanthood is seen as a huge blessing. So it's not just about like becoming a servant that only just produces fruit, but this is just more than a gift. This is just the greatest gift that you are showing that you are helping out, you are a servant, just putting the needs of other people and taking time off instead of your own needs. It does mean sacrificing your screen time. It does mean leaving the things that are of the world just for greater good. And it really means that you are shining your light in a positive way. So not just expecting the perfect light for glam. This is not glamorous. This is really a journey. This is really a pathway that we may take and take a turn to view at it. as a exercise. So it starts as an exercise, but the more you practice it, the more you understand that the heart of a servant isn't just the same as people expecting perfection, but it's quite different to what people may say. Okay, so that's what we have spoken about, right? So serve in the kingdom, servant serving isn't weakness, right? But it's the purest form of strength. Now let's talk about the hidden seasons, our single seasons. Um, Not just only single seasons. There is a lot to our four seasons, but each season is different. But we also have to serve during our four seasons, right? And for me, it really means a lot when it comes to the four seasons. When it comes to me, when it came to serving, it was a new concept at first when I got introduced to the church space. Um, I think it wasn't an exercise, but I saw it as fulfilling task to make people proud. And as a servant, I saw that example through my aunt when I attended the Good News Community Church. And this was after the year that I started at church. Probably, let me say, 2 years after, because 2015, I joined the church. 16, I had my first youth camp, and then in 2018 was the last camp. Um, but then there's still possibilities that we could host another one. But true servanthood isn't just seen at how people were acting, but how people were, obligating their task and how they would use their time and resources just to help out a growing, evolving church. So yeah, servanthood showed up in that way, you know? And regarding just putting aside relationships, I focused a lot on relationships. How the relationship with the future partner. But then I had to remind myself, look, don't get distracted by relationship. You have to serve. So by serving people, it means that you are serving the community, serving your local pastors, and knowing other people. So working with the team, besides of catering, making sure chairs are in order as an usher. So becoming a humble servant and taking some time. And as we are taking some time, we're just growing very more cognizant of the signal of becoming a true servant, right? And as to be this true servant, it's not just signaling a message that you aren't seen, but you are seen in the task that you do. It starts with small basic tasks, but the more you practice the task, the more better you become. So every single time you perform the task in place, which is at church or wherever it is, it's just helping you grow. And as you grow in the time being, it will show you that you are a true servant of the Lord by practicing kingdom principles and you becoming an example to others. Right? So that's how it is. You might feel like you're not seen, but trust me, um, it really means a lot when it comes to serving in the church or serving on your platform. This starts basically with modeling an example of Jesus. This is just becoming a servant before you expect others. I helped out in the team that was live engineering, live sound engineering. I did that, and I also helped out with graphic design at church. So that was some years back, but I still help out wherever I can. So as a servant and as a person who follows Christ, I still do help out wherever I can. Right? Interesting quote here is you can't skip the hidden place. That's where God tests your faithfulness. And yeah, that's how we understand the role of it opens up a lot of opportunities, the opportunities of servanthood, right? I did this on my last draft, right? That I did. And let's talk about intercession, right? I was recently asked, I think was a week ago or 2 weeks back, to lead intercession. Intercession is a role. It's like praying for others and standing on their behalf. It's also helping out to map out church and also to you know place a demand on God. This is not your own demands, but you're praying on behalf of other people, right? So um yeah, I spoke about the light and letting your light shine. That's in Matthew chapter 5, verse 14 to 16, right? This emphasizes the importance of being a light to the world through good deeds, right? This explains that intercessory prayer is praying on behalf of others. This is highlighting its purpose, motivation, and biblical context, right? This also leads to servanthood. That means when you serve in intercession. So let's understand what it is. So intercession is defined as praying to God on behalf of others. Its purpose and motivation and spiritual significance is also discussed. So I did like a whole long episode. So let me just look at the part where I define intercession, right? So intercession and our role is standing for someone and getting new connection. It's getting a connection through God through corporate prayer. Corporate prayer is like when people pray together. It's not just single prayer, but it's just allowing everyone to pray through your points that you've aligned, right? This is not only in situations, but also continuing to pray at all times, right? So it is quite interesting. So that's how it is. You pray on behalf of others and bring your prayer points before others. And it's quite interesting where we're going to, understand the meaning of it. So let's get started, or let's understand what it is. So intercessory prayer or intercession is the act of praying to God on behalf of another person, right? Or community rather than yourself. This is derived from the word intercessor, which means to intervene or meditate. It is an expression or of selfless love where someone stands in the gap to plead with God for help, guidance, or healing someone according to his will. The key aspects of this practice are purpose, which is to lift the needs of others before God, seeking intervention or his guidance for challenges that are not just only ours, bringing the challenges that we face as a church or in a community, right? Two, becoming a mediator, standing between God and other people, right? This is pleading for God's action, waiting for God to move. But when you bring this, it's a request to God, right? And lastly, um, it is considered as a spiritual responsibility and calling to many believers, right? This practice is found both in faith and Hebrew traditions. Jesus himself intercedes for believers in heaven according to the book of Hebrews. Now, besides understanding this, as I spoke about, I'm going to link it back to servanthood, right? So, this is all about humility and serving others, right? This is a higher purpose. Um, our example here, once again, it is Jesus, right? He is an example to our Christian faith. This involves a selfless heart, a willingness to meet others' needs, and a rejection to worldly pursuits. That means rejecting your own requirements and develop the support wherever you can. So, yeah, I spoke a lot around servanthood. So, intercession is also another part of it. Even worship is also part of servanthood. Worship is where you will really worship in truth and spirit, and that means worshiping in truth. So you can also help out in that way, that is singing through. It's not like singing your heart out, but it's just worshiping God in a pure form, that is through music, and that can be done through a form of, worship, and it's very special. So it's a special form of helping out in the church, and this is just expanding the time being of waiting. So your time as, your waiting season, or your season in life, you're just involving in activity. And the more you put activities rather than expecting to be served, these activities that you're building in the time being really leads to the real servanthood, the serving spirit, the serving individual that really shows up. So definitely will become a better person someday. So the better you are, the bigger the servant just shows up, you will become a good servant. And as you steward the servanthood role, not just only at home, but also in church, this places you much more further. And, you know, not just expecting some things to be done for you, but it also opens up opportunity for greater things to happen, whether you are teaching, maybe you are serving in the youth, maybe you are preaching. This is serving the church, serving wherever you are. This is not just chasing positions like to be pastor or anything like that. No, your messages are divine. They are unique. You may educate the church, you may educate whoever, but it's a role of a servant. That means you also have to serve wherever you are. This is not just done through just only the action, but ensuring everything is in place. I helped out as a servant, um, that's making sure that everything is in order. I did that as an usher. So it was quite a humbling task, but I mean, I had to ensure that everything was in order. And I did that like on September. So I saw a pastor, a friend of mine, and I wouldn't say a friend, but I look up to her. That is the wife of a pastor that I know. But just ensuring that everything was in order and everything was good, you know, as the last servant leaving the church home in order. So it felt good. It felt good. And it really reasonably spoke that it also requires fellowship. So when you fellowship with others, it doesn't mean you are going to be a bench warmer. This is also helping out at the church and also not just becoming spiritually full. It's exercising the word and also educating whoever needs to, learn from the word of God and just sharing your knowledge. You don't have to be perfect. Your faith can help you much more further and extend you into like the good territory that you may serve. So it's not just only certain people, but it does open up good opportunities as a servant of God. So the more you serve, the more opportunities open, the greater your position in heaven will be. You start as a servant and then you advance into roles such as an evangelist and a preacher. And this is not about just not doing anything. The role of servanthood shows you as a true servant of God. And as a servant, we serve to serve others. This is not to serve to have a fulfillment of selfish desire or certain things. We serve to help others. And as you continue to serve, the more God advances you as an individual. So be encouraged. Be encouraged that you will be at a better position and definitely as a true servant of God, you shall reap the benefits. So when you start serving, you are sowing a seed and someday it will fruitfully multiply. So that's the full episode on servanthood. And let me know your thoughts. What do you think serving the church means to you? Was it really good? Is it something new that you're quite doing or quite experienced in it? Or is it just something that you're quite trying out? So it's mostly about serving in ministry, at home, online, workplace, or anywhere. But remember this, that God sees you. Discipleship starts with the following, but grows through serving. Thank you for tuning in to the Digital Disciple podcast. I am Lux, and I really appreciate your time here. Thank you for the global listenership. I do appreciate your listenership wherever you are. You can find the podcast once again on YouTube. It's the Digital Disciple podcast. That's the YouTube page. And you can still listen to the audio streams. The audio is going to be on my channel, which is the Digital Disciple podcast. And it's empowering faith through media and purpose. So we're still online. We're still out here in the world, but definitely empowering you through faith as is going to help us, in a good medium or way. So thank you for tuning into this podcast episode. This has been an honor, and yeah, thank you for tuning in.